This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, students. In the previous classes, we started the methods available for stability analysis of finite soil slopes. In the previous classes, we started these methods, different methods available for stability analysis of finite soil slopes. In that, I discussed with you the Kalman's method. First, we discussed Kalman's method, stability analysis of finite soil slopes. Then I discussed with you the friction circle method. It is used for the stability analysis of finite soil slope. And in the last class, I discussed with you the Taylor's method of stability analysis of finite soil slopes. So, in this stability analysis of finite soil slopes, we discussed Kalman's method, friction circle method, and the Taylor's method. Apart from this, we have one more important method. Most of the civil engineers in the world, when they are investigating the soil slope stability of embankments, earth dams, or canals, most of the civil engineers across the world, they follow one important procedure, one important method that is called the Swedish circle method. So this Swedish circle method is having a lot of importance in the stability analysis of finite soil slopes. This method was developed by the Swedish civil engineers, the Department of Civil Engineering of Sweden. So that Swedish civil engineers, they developed this method for the analysis of stability of finite soil slope. So we are calling it as the Swedish circle method. Why this method is important is, in this method, instead of the forces, in this method, we consider the moments. We consider the moment of forces to calculate the factor of safety. I hope you know about moment of force. Moment of force is equal to force into particular distance. That is moment of force. You know that we have two types of moment of forces: clockwise moment and anti-clockwise moment. In soil slopes, please listen everyone, in soil slopes, sometimes the moment of force causing the failure, sometimes the moment of force resisting the failure. You know that the finite soil slopes are subjected to rotational failure. That is the most common failure of the finite soil slope. The rotational failure is the most common failure. Most of the finite soil slopes in embankments, canals, and earth dams, they are subjected to the rotational failure. In rotational failure, the moment of forces are important. Because of that moment of forces, the soil slope subjected to rotation. Due to that rotation, there is a failure of the soil slope. So in the Swedish circle method, we consider the moment of forces acting on the soil slope. By using those moment of forces, we calculate the factor of safety. Based on that, we can analyze whether that finite soil slope is stable or unstable. So the Swedish circle method is important because we are using that moment of forces in the Swedish circle method to find out the factor of safety of the soil slope. With this introduction, coming to this Swedish circle method approach. What is the procedure followed in the Swedish circle method? Just now I explained. In the Swedish circle method, we assume the finite soil slope subjected to rotational failure. We know that in rotational failure, the critical failure surface is a curved surface. I hope you remember. In the rotational failure, the critical failure surface is a curved surface. In translational failure, the failure surface is a plane surface, straight line. In the wedge failure also, the failure surface is a plane surface, straight line. But in the rotational failure, the failure surface is a curved surface. So in the Swedish circle method, we assume the finite soil slope subjected to rotational failure along the circular critical failure surface. In this Swedish circle method, the curved failure surface is considered as the arc of circle, just in the friction circle method, same as friction circle method. So in this Swedish circle method, we are using the separate approach, the moment of forces, to calculate the factor of safety of the soil slope. We also call this Swedish circle method as the method of method of pieces. I will tell you later why we call this Swedish circle method as the method of slices. Now coming to this concept of Swedish circle method, the procedure followed in the Swedish circle method. To understand the Swedish circle method, check this diagram. It is also applied on the graph sheet. The Swedish circle method is also applied on the graph sheet. So in the office, first prepare the plan of the embankment or the earth dam or the canal on the graph sheet according to convenient scale. So by selecting a suitable scale, prepare that plan of embankment or earth dam and or the canal on the graph sheet. Now once that plan is prepared, to check the stability of the finite side slope of the structure, this is the finite side slope. We prepare this plan. This may be embankment, earth dam or canal. Once this plan is prepared on the graph sheet, we are going to analyze the stability of this finite side slope by using this Swedish circle method. What is meant by stability analysis? Please everyone observe this carefully, listen this carefully. What is meant by stability analysis? Stability analysis means in future this soil slope, if and all this soil slope subjected to failure, about which failure plane? The failure plane is inside the structure. In future, if and all the soil slope subjected to failure AB, that is the soil slope. Sometimes the soil slope AB definitely subjected to failure after 10 years, 15 years or 20 years. If and all the soil slope AB subjected to failure, about which plane, about which curved surface inside this structure, about which curved surface that soil slope subjected to failure. If we locate that failure surface of this soil slope during construction, we can apply special methods in this portion of the structure, because this portion of structure subjected to failure in the future. If and all, this is the critical failure surface. Say this is the critical failure surface. In future, the soil slope AB subjected to failure about this failure surface. In the friction circle method, we discuss this procedure. In the Kalman's method, we discuss that procedure. The location of failure surface of the soil slope. If I am able to locate that failure surface, then during the construction, I will take some precautionary measures in this portion of the structure. When I am constructing this portion, I will take some suitable techniques to prevent this failure of the soil slope. So the stability analysis means locating the failure surface of the finite soil slope. We have Kalman's method, friction circle method, and also the last method. All the methods are used to locate this failure surface. In this Swedish circle method also, we are going to locate where is this failure surface of the soil slope AB. In order to locate that failure surface, we are using trial and error procedure. First, we consider one arc of circle AD. We consider one arc of circle AD. We calculate the forces acting on the soil wedge. By using those forces, we calculate the factor of safety. Then we consider another arc of circle AE. We consider the soil wedge again. We calculate the factor of safety. Then we consider another failure surface AF like that. By considering different failure surfaces in the graph sheet, we calculate the factor of safety of each failure surface. The failure surface which gives the minimum factor of safety is the critical failure surface. In future, the soil slope AB is subjected to failure about that particular failure surface. So during the construction, I must take care of more precautions on that portion of the structure so that it will not fail in future. That is the aim of all these methods of stability analysis of finite soil slopes. Now coming to this Swedish circle method. The Swedish circle method is also trial and error procedure. We cannot locate the exact, you cannot locate the exact failure surface by one time. It is not possible to locate the exact failure surface by one time. We have to repeat this process for a number of failure surfaces, calculate the factor of safety for every time, compare those factor of safeties. The failure surface which gives the minimum factor of safety is the most critical failure surface. That is the process. So I am going to explain this Swedish circle method for one failure surface like AD. So check the diagram. In the diagram, first we prepare the plan of embankment, earth dam or canal on the graph sheet. That plan is having the finite soil slope AB also. We are going to check the stability of this finite soil slope in the Swedish circle method. In the Swedish circle method, first we consider the arc of circle AD, one arc of circle. In the graph sheet, we consider one arc of circle. We assume this arc of circle is the failure surface. Since it is a arc of circle, the failure is rotational failure. So please everyone listen this Swedish circle method procedure. In the Swedish circle method, first we consider the curved this arc of circle AD as a failure surface. We prepare the plan on the graph sheet. Once that plan is prepared, then on the graph sheet, we draw this arc of circle AD. We assume this arc of circle AD is the failure surface of this soil slope AB. Let this arc of circle AD is of radius R with center O. O is the center of this arc of circle AD, R is the radius. Then this portion of the soil, this is called soil wedge. This portion of soil is in between the soil slope AB and the failure surface AD. This is imaginary, not the exact. I am explaining this process for one failure surface. We repeat this process for different failure surfaces. We calculate the factor of safety every time. Then we compare those factor of safeties. The failure surface which gives the minimum factor of safety is the most critical failure surface. So for one failure surface, I am explaining this Swedish circle method process. So I consider AD is the arc of circle of radius R with center O. Let this AD arc of circle is the failure surface. Then this portion of soil. What is that portion of soil? This is the soil portion between the soil slope AB and the failure surface AD. In the Swedish circle method, Please everyone listen this carefully. In the Swedish circle method, we separated this portion of soil into number of slices. These are all called the slices, like in the milk bread, just like the milk bread. If you see in the bakery, the milk bread cut into number of slices, same as like that. So in the Swedish circle method, this portion of the soil, this is called soil wedge. This soil portion is in between the soil slope and the failure surface AD. That portion of soil in the Swedish circle method separated into number of slices like this. Almost the slices are having same width. All the slices nearly having the same horizontal width. So the second slice, neglect this slice near the bottom and also the top. They may have little bit different widths, but the width of the second slice horizontal width, the width of the third slice, the width of the fourth slice, the width of the fifth slice, like that. See that when you are separating, when you are cutting the soil wedge into slices, see that all the slices are having the same horizontal width. Then I consider one slice in the soil wedge. Say this slice 4. I consider one slice. So please follow this Swedish circle method. In the Swedish circle method, we are going to study the stability of the finite soil slope AB. So I consider the failure surface as the arc of circle AD. It is a rotational failure. Let this arc of circle AD has radius R, center O. Then I separated this soil wedge. What is the soil wedge? It is the soil between the finite soil slope and the failure surface. This soil wedge. In the Swedish circle method, I separate this soil wedge into number of slices. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. All are called the slices. See that the slices are having approximately equal horizontal width. Then we consider one slice in this soil wedge, say slice 4. I am going to explain you what are the forces acting on this slice 4. What is the moment of those forces in this slice 4 about this point O. I will explain that process by considering one slice in the diagram. You repeat that process for the remaining slices, same procedure. So in the Swedish circle method, I am explaining the procedure of analysis by considering one slice in this soil wedge. We repeat this process for the remaining slices to find out the factor of safety. So consider this slice 4 in this soil wedge. In the beginning, I explained Swedish circle method is also called method of slices. This is the reason. In the Swedish circle method, we separated the soil wedge between the soil slope and failure surface into number of slices, small portions. So the Swedish circle method is also known as the method of slices. Now I am going to explain you the Swedish circle method for one slice by taking that fourth slice. We are going to find out what are the forces acting on this fourth slice and what are the moments of those forces acting on this slice 4 about center O. So please look at that slice 4 separately. This is that slice 4. Just now I explained. In the Swedish circle method, we separated the soil wedge into number of slices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For understanding purpose, I consider one slice in the previous diagram. That is this slice 4. Please everyone look this slice 4. This slice is a soil prism. The slice is a soil prism. It is having soil. Let the weight of the soil in this slice 4 is W. W is the weight of the soil in the slice 4. This slice 4 is of horizontal width B. Since it is in the graph sheet, this slice 4 is in the graph sheet approximately trapezium. Since it is in the graph sheet, we can calculate the area of this slice 4 by knowing that area of the slice 4 by taking the unit thickness. You can calculate the volume by knowing the density, by knowing the unit weight gamma and volume. You can calculate the weight of the slice 4, that is W, known value. So we consider one slice in the soil weight, slice 4. Since it is in the graph sheet, easily you can calculate the weight of that slice 4, take it as W. W is the weight of slice 4 only, not this entire soil weight, please. I consider only one slice in the soil weight, slice 4. W is the weight of that slice 4, that is one force. The second force is when this soil weight is subjected to failure. What is the soil weight? ABDA. This is the soil weight, ABDA. When this soil weight is subjected to failure, it starts moving in downward direction. We know that when the soil wedge is moving in downward direction, the soil wedge applies the cohesion force on the surface AD. Number of times we discuss. At the time of failure, the soil wedge moving in downward direction. In that downward movement, the soil wedge applies the cohesion force on the failure surface AD in the downward direction. So that in the free body diagram of the soil wedge, the surface AD, failure surface AD applies the cohesion force on the soil wedge in the upward direction. I discussed this number of times in the previous classes. If I consider the free body diagram of the soil wedge, on that soil wedge, the failure surface applies the cohesion force in the upward direction. Now consider that slice 4. When the slice 4 is subjected to failure, the slice 4 applies the cohesion force on the failure surface in downward direction. So the failure surface applies the cohesion force on the slice 4 in upward direction, that is this cohesion C. C is the cohesion force, not the mobilized cohesion. In friction circle method, we don't have that mobilized cohesion. It is simply cohesion force. So C is the cohesion force applied by the failure surface AD on the slice 4. Because the slice 4, when it is moving downwards during failure, it applies the same cohesion C on the failure surface AD in downward direction. So the failure surface AD applies the same cohesion force C on the slice 4 in upward direction. That is the second force. What is the first force? The weight of the slice 4 W. What is the second force? The cohesion force C from the failure surface. Now, if delta L is the length of this slice 4, this length, delta L is the length of this slice 4, I can write this cohesion force capital C. Number of times we discuss. This is the total cohesion force acting on the slice 4 only, not on all slices. I consider only slice 4. I am explaining the forces acting on only slice 4. One is the weight W. Next one is the cohesion force C. This is the total cohesion force acting on the slice 4. You know that the total cohesion force is equal to small c unit cohesion into length of this surface, bottom surface. Take this length of this bottom surface of the slice 4 as delta L. This bottom length of the slice 4 delta L. Then capital C is equal to small c into this length delta L. Capital C is the total cohesion force. Small c is the cohesion force per unit length. So that is the second force. Third force. We know that the slice the fourth slice is moving only along the failure surface AD in the downward direction. The slice 4 cannot move in the perpendicular direction. In the direction perpendicular to failure surface AD, the slice 4 cannot move. So this failure surface AD applies the reaction force. This is the reaction force. Or the failure surface AD applies this reaction force on this slice 4 because the slice 4 would not move in the direction perpendicular to failure surface AD. The failure surface AD applies the reaction force on the slice 4, third force. So the slice 4 only, in the diagram we consider only the slice 4. That slice 4 only subjected to 3 forces: weight of the slice, cohesion force C, reaction R. Check these 3 forces. Here this is the line perpendicular to the failure surface AD. This line from this center O, draw the line perpendicular to failure surface. This is the line from this center O. We draw a line to this failure surface AD in the perpendicular direction. With this perpendicular, let this weight W making the angle alpha. This line is perpendicular to the failure surface passing through center O. So passing through center O only on this slice 4. Passing through center O, draw a straight line perpendicular to the failure surface. With that perpendicular line, the weight W makes an angle alpha. We can resolve this weight into 2 components. One component is along this perpendicular direction. This is called normal component. Normal component N is perpendicular to the failure surface on the slice 4 N. The next one is tangential component. Resolve this weight W into 2 components. One component normal component N, W sin cos alpha. Next component horizontal component T, W sin alpha. So resolve this weight of the slice 4 into 2 components, normal component and tangential component. Then coming to this reaction force, we know that the reaction force will make some angle with this perpendicular direction. This line is perpendicular to failure surface. So with that perpendicular line, this reaction force makes an angle. In the Swedish circle method, we consider that angle is phi. That is the angle of internal friction of soil, phi, not phi m. There is no mobilization in this Swedish circle method. There is no mobilization. In the friction circle method, we have that mobilized cohesion, mobilized angle of internal friction, remaining methods also. But in the Swedish circle method, we don't have that mobilization, mobilized cohesion, mobilized angle of internal friction. All the original values are considered. C is the cohesion, phi is the angle of internal friction. So with this normal direction, this line is normal to the failure surface AD. With this normal direction, the reaction R makes an angle phi. From this point, check this please, from this point up to this point O, this is the radius R, small r, radius of the circular arc AD. This length is equal to small r. So the slice 4 subjected to actually 3 forces, W, C and R. But we resolve this W into 2 components. One component normal component N, other component tangential component T. So at present, the slice 4 subjected to 4 forces. What are those 4 forces? One is normal component N. Observe this normal component N. The line of action of normal component N passing through point O. This line of action of normal component N passing through point O. N is equal to W cos alpha. The next one is tangential component T, W sin alpha. This is the tangential component. From this point O to this tangential component, the perpendicular distance is equal to radius R. To this tangential component, from this point O, the perpendicular distance is equal to radius R. Third one is force C, cohesion force. From this point O up to this force C, the perpendicular distance is equal to radius R. Then the fourth one is reaction R, force, reaction force. This is the line of action of reaction force. This is the angle phi. And this length is equal to R, small r. From this point O, draw a perpendicular to the line of action of reaction force R. This is the reaction force. From point O, draw a perpendicular to that line of action of reaction R. Take this right angle triangle, this right angle triangle. In this right angle triangle, sin phi is equal to opposite side. This is the distance. Opposite side by hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse or radius. So sin phi is equal to opposite side divided by radius r. So this opposite side is r sin phi. But this opposite side is the perpendicular distance of this reaction force r from point O. So check those four forces and also the perpendicular distances. First force is normal reaction N. Normal reaction N passing through point O. So there is no perpendicular distance. Second one is tangential force T acting in the downward direction. We know that this tangential force T causes the failure. Because of this tangential component T, the entire soil starts moving downward direction. This force causing the failure T. From center O up to this force T, the perpendicular distance is R, radius R. The next one is force C, cohesion force. Acting in the upward direction, it prevents the failure of the soil slope. So it is a resisting force T, C. And from point O up to this force C, the perpendicular distance is radius R. The next one is the reaction force R. The reaction force R acting in upward direction from point O up to this reaction force R, the perpendicular distance is R sin phi. So these are the forces acting on the slice 4. In those forces, four forces, force T about point O produces the clockwise moment. About point O, force T produces the clockwise moment. Force C about point O produces the anti-clock moment. Reaction force R about point O produces the anti-clock moment. So among these four forces, force T about point O produces the clockwise moment. Moment is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Force C about point O produces the anti-clock moment. Force R about point O produces the anti-clock moment, whereas this normal reaction R passing through point O, so the moment of normal reaction N about point O is 0 because it is passing through point O. So in the diagram, the moment of force N about point O is 0. The moment of force T about point O is T into R. Because from point O up to this force T, the perpendicular distance is radius R. The moment of force T about point O, T into R, clockwise moment. The moment of force C about point O is C into this perpendicular distance R. And the moment of force R about point O is R into this perpendicular distance R sin phi. This moment of force T clockwise. The moment of force C, moment of force R are anti-clockwise. So in the equilibrium condition of slice 4, in the equilibrium condition of slice 4, the sum of anti-clock moments, the sum of clockwise moments is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moments. I hope you remember in the equilibrium condition, sigma m equal to 0. That is equation of equilibrium. What is the sigma m? The sum of clockwise moments is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moments. But here we have only one clockwise moment, the moment of force T, T into R. But we have two anti-clockwise moments, the moment of force C and also the moment of reaction force R. So the equilibrium condition of slice 4, you will get the moment equilibrium equation as so here in this equation, the force T produces the clockwise moment. That clockwise moment of force T into R. T is the force, R is working distance. So the clockwise moment on the slice 4 is due to tangential force T, that is equal to T into R. Whereas the anti-clockwise moments are the moment of force T and the moment of reaction force R. These two are the anti-clockwise moments. Whereas the moment of force T is a clockwise moment. T into R is clockwise. This clockwise moment T into R increases the failure because the force T acting in the downward direction, it causes the failure. So the moment of force T, clockwise moment T into R, causes the failure of the slice 4. That failure of the slice 4 is prevented by the anti-clockwise moment of cohesion force C and the reaction force R. This is that anti-clockwise moment of cohesion force C and the reaction force R. From point O, center O, up to this force C, R is working distance. And from center O up to this force R, R and phi is working distance. So the resisting moment acting on the slice 4 is the moment of the cohesion force C plus the moment of the reaction force R. This is the total anti-clockwise moment. It prevents the failure of the slice 4. Whereas the moment of tangential force T increases the failure. T into R. That is the moment causing the failure, clockwise moment T into R. Whereas the moment preventing the failure of slice 4 is anti-clockwise moment. That is the moment of cohesion force C and the moment of reaction force R. This is the total moment. We know that the total cohesion capital C is equal to unit cohesion into the length of the slice 4 at bottom delta L. So I am using this relation. The total cohesion force C is equal to the unit cohesion into the length delta L. Then check the previous diagram. In this diagram, in the perpendicular direction, check this diagram. So in this diagram, in this perpendicular direction, look at the forces please. We have 4 forces on the slice 4. One is force T, next one is force C, third one is N, fourth one is R. So please everyone check this carefully. Take this as x-axis. Take this as x-axis. The force T and force C are acting on the x-axis. Take this as y-axis. This perpendicular y-axis. The force N is acting on the y-axis, and with this y-axis, the force R applying the angle phi. This is the y-axis. On the y-axis, we have the force N and also force R. With y-axis, the force R making an angle phi. So the component of force R on y-axis, the component of force R on y-axis is R cos phi. So check this diagram please. I consider this perpendicular as y-axis. Along the y-axis, this normal reaction N acting in downward direction. With this y-axis, the force R making the angle phi. So the component of force R along y-axis is R cos phi in the upward direction. So on this y-axis, we have 2 forces only. One is R cos phi upward, other one is normal force N downward. Since this slice is in equilibrium condition, I hope you remember the equations of equilibrium in engineering mechanics. We have 3 equations of equilibrium. Sigma Fx equal to 0, sigma Fy equal to 0, sigma M equal to 0. Apply that sigma Fy here equal to 0. Along this y-axis, we have only two forces. One is R cos phi upward. Next one is N downward. So if I apply sigma of phi equal to 0 along this y-axis, I will get sigma of phi is equal to R cos phi minus N equal to 0. So use that sigma of phi equal to 0 in this momentum equation. We know that the anti-clockwise moment acting on the slice 4 is C into R plus R into R sin phi. This is the anti-clockwise moment, resisting moment. Now in this equation, replace this R, reaction R, with this reaction force R with normal force. You know that sigma of phi equal to 0. So R cos phi minus N equal to 0. From this, N is equal to R cos phi. Just now I explained. Along the y-axis, we have only two forces, N and R cos phi. Sigma of phi equal to R cos phi minus N. So this N is equal to R cos phi. So the reaction force R is equal to N by cos phi. Here we have R into sin phi, R into sin phi. So multiply this on both sides with sin phi. So R sin phi is equal to N by cos phi into sin phi. Sin phi by cos phi is tan phi. So R into sin phi is equal to N tan phi. Substitute that here. So the resisting moment, anti-clockwise moment on the slice 4, the total anti-clockwise moment is C into R plus R into R sin phi. And by using sigma of phi equal to 0, we calculate N is equal to R cos phi. So R is equal to N by cos phi. So R sin phi is equal to N tan phi. Substitute this in this equation. So here we have R into sin phi, that is N tan phi. So the resisting moment M R becomes equal to the resisting moment on slice 4 is equal to C into delta L into R plus N into R into tan phi. This is the resisting moment. So on slice 4 only, we know the moment causing the failure, that is clockwise moment M naught T into R. We know the moment preventing the failure, that is anti-clockwise moment, from equation 4. So by knowing the failure clockwise moment and the resisting anti-clockwise moment, calculate the factor of safety of slice 4 only. The factor of safety of slice 4 is equal to the ratio between the resisting moment to failure moment. Resisting moment is MR, anti-clockwise moment. Failure moment is clockwise moment M naught. So this is the equation of factor of safety of only the slice 4, not all the slices. This is the equation of factor of safety for only slice 4. So the factor of safety of slice 4 is equal to C, unit cohesion, into delta L, length of the slice 4, into R, radius of the RPAD, failure RPAD, plus N. What is this N? Normal component of the weight of slice 4 into R into tan phi by T. What is that T? Tangential component of the weight of the slice 4 into R. So this equation gives the factor of safety, and cancel this R in the numerator and denominator. This equation becomes as the factor of safety of slice 4, only slice 4, is equal to C into delta N plus N into tan phi by T. Apply this process for remaining slices. Apply this process. What we did in the process, we consider the slice 4 only. We calculate the weight of the slice 4 W. We resolve that weight into two components, normal component N, tangential component T. Then the slice 4 subjected to cohesion force C and also the reaction force R. Then on slice 4, we calculate the clockwise moment T into R. On the slice 4, we calculate the anti-clockwise moment C into cap small r plus R into R sin phi. We just modify this equation of anti-clockwise moment In the slice 4, clockwise moment causes the failure. Anti-clockwise moment resists the failure. This is the anti-clockwise moment. Then from sigma Fy equal to 0, we got this n is equal to r cos phi. From this we calculate r sin phi is equal to n tan phi. We substitute here. We got the resisting moment, anti-clockwise moment C delta L r plus n r tan phi. By knowing this anti-clockwise resisting moment and the clockwise failuring moment, we calculate the factor of safety of slice 4 only. This is the equation. In this equation, C is the unit cohesion. Delta L is the length of the slice 4 at bottom. N is the normal component of weight of the slice 4 into tan phi by T is the tangential component of weight of the slice 4. Repeat this process for the remaining slices from 1 to 6. For every slice, you will get the factor of safety. This is the factor of safety of the slice 4 only. Apply this same process for the remaining slices in the diagram. We separate the entire soil wedge into 6 slices. Apply this process for all the remaining slices 1 to 6. Calculate the factor of safety and combine the factor of safeties of all slices. You will get the total factor of safety of the side slope AB about the failure surface AD. So apply this equation 5 for slice 1, slice 2, slice 3 like that. In the slice 1, N is the normal component of weight of the slice 1. P is the tangential component of weight of the slice 1. For slice 2, N is the normal component of weight of the slice 2. P is the tangential component of weight of the slice 2 like that. For all the slices, apply this equation 5. Find out the factor of safety of all slices. Combine them. You will get the total factor of safety of the entire soil wedge ABDA. So by using that equation 5, you can prepare the factor of safety of the entire failure surface AD. So this factor of safety of soil slope AB about that failure surface AD is equal to sum. Sigma means sum of the equation 5 for all the slices. Only the equation 5 is for slice 4, CDL plus n tan phi by T. And I apply that equation 5 for all the slices in the soil slope, that is AD, soil wedge, AD, ABDA. I will get this equation 6. It is the sum of factor of safeties of all slices. So the total factor of safety of the soil slope AB about the failure surface AD is sigma C delta L plus sigma M tan phi by sigma T. It is summation of all slices. In this equation, C is unit cohesion constant. Take it outside. Sigma delta L. Sigma delta L is the sum of the lengths of all slices. The sum of all slices length is equal to the length of the arc AD, that is LA. LA is the total length of the arc AD, circular arc AD. We separate this circular arc AD into slices. Each slice having the length delta L. So sigma delta L is the total length of circular arc AD, that is LA. LA is the total length plus tan phi constant. Take it outside. So tan phi is constant. Take it outside plus sigma n. Sigma n means the sum of the normal components of the weight of all slices. Every slice weight resolved into two components, normal component and tangential component. Then sum up all the normal component weights of slices, you will get sigma n. Sum up all the tangential component of slices, you will get sigma t. Substitute that in the equation 7. So in the Swedish circle method for one failure surface AD, this is for only one failure surface. In the beginning, we consider the failure surface as the arc of circle AD. We consider the slice 4. We calculate the factor of safety of the slice 4. Then we apply that equation to all slices. You will get the factor of safety of soil slope AB about the failure surface AD. This is the equation. In this equation, C, unit coefficient, LA, length of the failure surface AD. From the field observation, you can find out this C value. Since it is on the graph, you can calculate this length LA from the graph, and phi is known from the field, and sigma n, the normal component of each slice weight. Sum of sigma n means sum of all the normal components of the weight of the slices. Sigma t, sum of all the tangential components of the weight of the slices. You can find out sigma n, sigma t from the graph also. So by using that equation 7, you can find out the factor of safety of the soil slope AB about one failure surface AD. Repeat this process by taking the another failure surface like AE, another arc of circle. Apply the same process, calculate the factor of safety. Then take one more failure surface AE, like that. You have to repeat this process for at least 10 to 15 failure surfaces. Then check the factor of safety. Compare the factor of safeties of all those failure surfaces. For one failure surface, you will get the minimum factor of safety, that is called the most critical failure surface of the soil slope AB. So this is the analysis of the finite soil slopes by using the Swedish circle method. It is also called the method of slices. Okay, students, with this I am going to stop the class. If you have doubts about this Swedish circle method, please discuss with me. Any doubts, students, about this Swedish circle method? If you have any doubts about this Swedish circle method, you please discuss with me. Any doubts, students, in this Swedish circle method? (132) is there in the class? Roll number 132.